to Josh Adams.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Contact here out of turn 4.
Tries to slam the door, but they sends him right back up the racetrack.
Big moment for Bodie between him and Dexter. It's Ryan Kuhn yet again out of turn number 4. He's going to win for a second time in the Misfit Touring Series. And it's all about Christian Peterson out front. 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 4 times he's finished runner-up. But tonight, it's the first time win here in the Touring Series.
Christian Peterson, after 17 races, finally gets it done.
A blast from the past. But now, these days, it has a modern twist on iRacing. Tonight, Misfit Touring Series. Go short track racing at the new version of North Wilkesboro Speedway as we get set for tonight's action for the second race of the third season. Tonight's action is presented by RaceMRL.com. Tonight, we go racing under the lights from North Wilkesboro. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside with the booth for tonight is Gavin Grubbs. Our producer this evening is Morgan Cook. Tonight, we go racing for 125 laps in what should be an interesting night. North Wilkesboro, a little bit different of a feel from the past times on iRacing, though. It's not 1987 anymore. It's now 2025 specs, and that's much more slipperier, believe it or not.
Yeah, Justin, this track on this new scan, it doesn't even feel like the same place to me. I guess your lift points, you're not going to use much braking here. Your lift points are in a pretty similar spot, but your driving line is a lot different. Instead of being mostly on the bottoms of the corners, you can use the entire track effectively here at North Wilkesboro as you take a look at our schedule here for the 25-26 season.
Yes, you see some of the races coming up on the schedule, include a Triple Crown race with Oxford Plains. You also have a Dash for Cash race amongst the stretch before we get to the holiday break, for example. So a lot of busy action on the schedule at the very least, but it's still very early in the championship itself, though. Only one race down, that was in Florida at Five Flags.
Yeah, Kyle Terzak took the win at Five Flags Speedway over Dylan Delaney and Tanner Berge. However, there's a few of those guys, most notably Terzak and Delaney. Neither one, I don't even think Berge is here either. So the top three in points are all gone for the week for this race. So we're going to see a huge points shakeup after tonight here at North Wilkesboro.
Going to be a lot of shakeups when it comes to things, absolutely. You have to wonder if it's a chance of recovery from some of the drivers that performed well, like Grant Brown that we talked a little bit about last time out, blew a tire late in the race. Remember, there were no tire changes last time out. Jake Sylvia, he was amongst the drivers who had an opportunity, ended up instead on the wrecker towards the bottom of the order.
Yeah, I'm looking at our timing and scoring right now. The fastest driver who is on the point standings right now is Jake Grout there in fourth. If he can take care of this race, he should have no reason to not be in the points lead after tonight.
Yes, absolutely. At least 15 entries have made it here tonight, including several drivers who didn't make the first start of the season at the very least. So a lot of opportunity to pick up some early points here in the championship. There's plenty of races a part of the schedule, though, that can factor in for your chance for a championship. But you mentioned how things are going on the surface, your race analysis. We do have a tire set available and 2 green-white checker attempts. Remember, this series is open setup, meaning you can make your tweaks. You better find a way to find speed, though, if you want to be able to win this race, though. So it's not the risk of, okay, I can't push for 50, 60, 70, 80 laps. You can push a little bit more to have some speed, and if you get a caution, you can bolt on a new set.
Yeah, I am super excited to watch this race tonight because it is going to be so different than what we watched last week. Like you just said, these guys aren't going to have to save very much with the tire set available, plus the new surface of North Wilkesboro. I expect these guys to be near flat out from the drop of the green flag.
So just a few more moments to go till we get things rolling for tonight's festivities, which should be a busy night here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Well, all the renders you see on screen for the 1987 version, that's how new the new track will be. We do have an invert tonight of 6, meaning whoever sets the pole, he'll be starting in 6th position instead. That driver will let you know in just a moment. Qualifying just came to a close, so remember this field is going to get shuffled and inverted amongst the top 6. The pole time tonight went to Christopher Shepard. That gets him a prize of 6th position. Thomas Dean starts next to him, at least in the running order. Dean will get the 5th position. Row number 2, Matthew Knott. He'll flip things around with Bryce Nelson. Also flipping ahead, Nelson will go up to the 3rd spot for the roll through. Christian Peterson timed it up pretty well in terms of the invert. He'll start outside front row. Travis Owens again quick in qualifying for the invert spots at least. See if he's able to keep the track position tonight. He'll start on the actual pole. Marky Smith will start in the south position with Brandon Atkinson making an appearance tonight. He will start in the 8th position. Rounding your top 10, Wyatt Dent was in the 7th. In the 8th was Hudson Geiger with an 18.8.
Now, outside of the top 10, we have Michael Deach in the 11th spot and Aaron Johnson in the 12th spot. He did not lay down a qualifying lap. Cody Dempster and Grant Brown will be in row 7. And Jake Grout will round out the field in 15th. Those back few cars did not take a qualifying lap, so we really are going to be looking to see what they're going to do early. And now it looks like we just stepped into a time machine because the track, it is 40 years younger all of a sudden.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's younger. It's definitely a more modernistic approach to this racetrack. It's not like the eras where they imagined a Coliseum, let's say, for the NR 2003 modding scene. But your keys to victory, first things first here tonight, is the field taking its time to hit the grid.
Yeah, my keys to victory are track position all night long. I think being able to hold your spot on track is going to be the most important thing because you are going to have that set of tires in the pits. And I think if we have a caution, mid to mid-late race, I think everybody is going to take those tires around the same time. I think track position is going to be at a premium tonight.
Who do you think is going to get the chance to come away with a race win tonight, to say the very least? We are waiting for one competitor before we get rolling.
I don't know. My pick last week did not go so well, so I think I'm just going to sit back and watch the chaos and great racing unfold tonight.
Okay. On that note, it should be an interesting one. Going to keep an eye in particular on the Grant Brown Jake route from the very back of the field. Keep an eye on them to be hard charger potentials. But tonight, some different opportunities for some teams to perform up at the front. Some RKM-based schemes up at the front. But Christian Peterson, he is very consistent when he makes his way on the track. He's been a long-time iRacer. He's raced short track racing pretty religiously for a while, and he's one of your top drivers in terms of skill sets when it comes to this type of car here, Gavin. That 71 going to be someone to watch for with him getting the outside front row with the invert.
Yeah, like you said, he has such a large amount of experience, and I'm sitting here looking, and it is hard to pick a favorite when you're looking at it, but I'm looking at these guys' iRatings, and starting in 5th position, Christian Peterson, that you just said, his iRating is near 6,000, and it's going to be hard for these guys around him to slow him down with his large amount of experience. I think he's going to get near the front quick, and he is going to stay up there for most of the time. Yeah, starting second with the invert.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Let's get shuffled along here for that running order as we are just about ready to roll here. Should be a fun night. One more pace lap before we go racing here from North Wilkesboro. Happy to have you with us here on V-Speed for tonight's coverage of Misfit Touring Series competition. 15 drivers ready to do battle. This should be fun as they've extended it for an additional lap to make sure everyone is caught up and warms up the tires and make sure the drivers know the restart zone rules.
Yeah, these guys are listening to race control right now. Just go through the restart procedure. They're giving that extra lap because of the invert to get everybody in the right spot. Coming to one to go here. The field is formed. These guys are ready. I am ready too.
An exciting night to say the very least once again here on V-Speed. Now we'll try this again as the field zip its way around. All the fans standing on their feet for 125 laps of some late model stock racing. Looks like drivers will get black flags cleared before there's any confusion there, but everybody else looks prepared. There goes the pace truck. They get ready for the start zone. New pavement, new looks. but the legend lives on. We're happy to have you with us for MTS competition. We're underway from North Wilkesboro.
And as they dived off into turn one, man, they are still side by side for the lead. That is Peterson up top, Owens on the bottom. Christian Peterson is going to take the lead, and he's going to settle in line as the field is single file all the way back to 4th position now.
Nice jump by Peterson right from the get-go, as the majority of the field moving to the second groove. No one wrapping around the white line here. You don't expect that in 1 and 2 in particular with this pavement. 3 and 4 is a little bit different. Remember, this racetrack is on a hill. You go downhill down the front stretch, you go uphill down the back straightaway, which leads to a different approach on how you approach this 0.63 mile circuit.
And as you watch them right now, they're starting to get a little bit spread out. I think this early on in the race, everybody's settling in. It's still early in the season. A lot of these guys didn't run last week, so there are a lot of guys who, don't have a whole lot of experience racing around each other. They're going to settle in because this track is slick, and everyone wants to know what the cars around them will be doing as we get to take a look at this great battle back in the field.
Yes, indeed, some good battling so far with Aaron Johnson trying to run the bottom in one of the Corey Bodie Motorsports machines. Just trying to defend things with some of the pressure building from behind. Already up 3 spots, Johnson is. Up 1 apiece, Dempster, Brown, and Grout also in this respective pack. So a good start at least for the 78. Not so great start if you're Smith, who's gone a -4 and is losing ground because he can't find the groove.
Yeah, the groove here is pretty tricky because, in my opinion, it is everywhere. I think there's not a lot of grip on this track, so you really just have to kind of go where the car takes you. And if your team missed in the setup, you might be in trouble.
Look at this up at the front. Travis Owens has found some momentum down on the low side for 3 and 4. Taking the race lead from Peterson. Peterson, it looks like he might be saving a little bit here for the long run, letting some of the drivers burn up their stuff. There goes Bryce Nelson for good measure, as well as second in the Cutting Speed Shop base setup. So 3 different setup philosophies up at the front of the field. And not a surprise we see someone like Peterson say, if the speed's going to be already this quick in the 18.9s, may as well back off here, because tire fall off we've seen can be pretty substantial if you can't hit that exact mark in terms of the fall off band for these tires.
Yeah, the late model stocks especially to me are a very tricky car to maintain your tires on, because if that right front gets too hot, then you have to kind of wrestle the car around, and your tire fall off on the other 3 tires speeds up exponentially.
And of course, when you burn up your right front, you get tighter. It's not like where you burn the right rear and you end up looser. If you end up burning that right front, you have to slow down rapidly. Battle for the race lead, side by side. Nelson takes it away. Bryce Nelson slips his way on through. He was a half a tenth quicker than Owens lap before making that pass. So the orange and cream machine to the point.
Yeah, Bryce Nelson is looking fast tonight. We've already had 3 leaders here in just 12 laps, but Bryce Nelson, his car just seems a little bit more planted than Travis Owens. I watched him a few times, and Travis Owens just looks like he is fighting the car a little bit on corner exit, and Nelson, that right rear just doesn't seem to be stepping out from under him.
Nelson, one of the drivers who we did not see last time out. A little bit of contact from Owens.
Yeah, it was a little bit of contact there. I think Owens did not mean to, as you saw him lift off pretty heavily afterwards. I don't think he was trying to push the issue this early on in the night. I think he's just trying to ride along there in second. As you see him wash up a little bit in the center of 3 and 4 and get a lot higher of an entry, he actually gets into the wall. You have to wonder if he is fighting that race car being up, pushing this hard early on.
See some of those in the back of the field, like Grout now up 3. That's Wyatt Dent, who's plummeted down the order. They just passed on by. You also have Atkinson and Johnson amongst those trying to make some moves on Shepard. Remember, Shepard With the invert was plopped down to 6th, his Black Magic Performance Machine has not been able to live up to the qualifying trim speed so far. As a matter of fact, he's having a hard time trying to defend, leaving a lot of space to that bottom line to be able to chip away at it.
Yeah, that bottom line seems to be the preferred line here so far tonight. I'm interested to see if that's going to be the line that really takes control of this race. As you see a lot of cars down there, only one really up at the top. As Owens near the front just keeps stepping out from behind the leader. I don't think he's doing that on purpose. I think he's really fighting the car, but he wants to stay right on Bryce Nelson's rear bumper.
Yep, you see everyone just sliding on by back there. But already coming up to lap 20 this upcoming time by. Owens had short run speed, remember, last time out too, before he dropped to the top 8 at the very end of that race. The 0-2 seems to be in the similar ballpark here. The fall-off band is already up to 4/10 so far here at North Wilkesboro. Owens, you can see, just searching around with the diamond line, trying different approaches, all while some of the others testing their grounds a little bit at the back of the field, trying to get this thing sorted. By the way, we had a single car spin we're hearing. The 7 of Smith has already pulled down pit road. No caution. We stay green.
Yeah, he's already 3 laps down, and I think 3 laps is that magic number where you kind of have to accept your situation for the night and just ride around there and hope a few guys in front of you fall out of the race. You know, if you go 2 laps down and everybody else is on the lead lap, you can get a wave around or get 2 lucky dogs and make your way back to the front. But now, I mean, he's 4 laps down now, so I definitely think that Marcus Smith's done for the night.
By the way, Michael Deach is also losing touch of the pack, 14 seconds back of the field. So most of the field has stayed tucked into the line except for that number 8 machine. With how things are going, Deach right now running in the 19.9s compared to the field's average of the 19.2s. Here's Grout, wrapping the bottom in 3 and 4 still. The arcade setup shop scheme continuing to try and gain a bit of ground. Remember, top 5 points picked up last time out. Was able to get a good run at the very end. Brown had speed as well if it wasn't for that right rear tire.
Yeah, Grant Brown and Cody Dempster right now, I'm watching them slowly work their way up through the field. They're able to just stay yeah, he did make a little bit of contact at 78. Looks like maybe a little bit of damage. Yeah, you can see his right front tire sticking out of the fender there. We need to keep an eye on that because that damage could slow him down a little bit, but if he has wheel damage, as that tire wears out faster than the other cars around him, he could fall off at an extremely high rate.
He's going to need some luck to be able to get some repairs done. That front clip is crushed. Dean, meanwhile, trying to make up a little bit of ground. Teammate when it comes to with Jake Grout. Don't spin it! He will spin it! Around he goes off the nose of Dempster. Into the incident goes Johnson. Matthew Knopf takes responsibility as the caution waves for the first time tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get a look at the replay here and really get to see what happens. As you're watching from our aerial view here, this car on the bottom, everything looks good. As they go off into 1, I think there's going to be some contact. Watch. Yeah. He lost it on his own. Everybody stacked up behind him. I think that's just a racing deal. As when they stacked up behind him, everybody has some minor damage. I think the 78 probably got the most damage out of that. That's Aaron Johnson. He already had a little bit of damage.
They just sailed around. You can see on some of the entries, previous to 3, you can see that little float to the right. The car was starting to swing loose then. A little bit deeper than that green light. Snaps around. Gets the assistance. Gets the boop for good measure. And that's obviously going to send them down pit road, and race control has understood that. So, racing deal is the situation. Deach amongst those coming on down with everyone who's picked up damage in this race so far. But under 100 laps to go. So far, so smooth when it comes to Nelson. 18 laps led so far for the 31 machine. That Justin Brooks Designs paint scheme. Keeping comfortable so far in clean air. It's been difficult to build up a run alongside him. In fact, Travis Owens, despite running different lanes, hasn't been able to find a way to get back to the inside of the 31 since they've been dead even on lap times on average the past 10 laps.
Yeah, when you look at their lap times, they are even, but Bryce Nelson just seems to be doing it with a little bit more of an ease to it. He seems more relaxed. His car just seems more planted. The right rear hasn't kicked out. He hasn't floated up the track. He has been planted on the line every lap exactly where he wants to be. And I think as these runs get longer, I think that is going to be the key difference between these top two cars tonight.
So the field doubles up. Looks like Nelson. He's moved up to the outside line for the restart. We've seen people preferring that second line in 1 and 2. Shouldn't be surprised. Hudson Geiger also is amongst those who topped off down pit road. Geiger very quiet. Started 11th. Then everybody else, including Michael Deach, towards the tail as well. Significant damage still to both involved in the incident. We're back under green. Nelson able to clear as expected. But look at the battle for second. Not trying to build something up. Covered off by Owens for a split second. Owens looking to complete the clear attempt as Peterson trying to fight for spots.
Yeah, this battle for third right here, it's 4 cars under a blanket as Peterson is on the bottom, and he's got Dempster right behind him, and they're going to clear, or at least Peterson's going to clear the battle. And great side-by-side racing. That was not getting in the wall just a little bit. I don't think he got any damage from it. We've seen these cars clip the outside wall. Oh, he's going to get turned around. And the 14 is also collected. That was very unfortunate for all cars involved. We're going to take another look at it right here. This aerial view should be a lot better of an indicator on what exactly went down.
Let's take a look at this. Knott was up high side. Grout was inside. Grout claims it was taken through what I guess it was, but I don't think that was the factor.
Yeah, they looked 3 wide, but nobody was getting crowded there. Like, nobody really touched. He just kind of floated up into the outside. It didn't look malicious, but I would call it a mistake.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he was trying to blend in behind the 82. Misjudged it. Yeah, you can see right
you have
here.
to ride along right here with him, and I kind of think you're right. I think that is what happened. I think he was trying to blend in and just thought the 82 might have been a little bit further out ahead of him than he was.
Yeah, and about half the field's now pit because of this, by the way, you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, 78 has been involved in both incidents tonight. As you're looking at the front of his car, and it is battered and bruised. He's going to be able to get some repairs here along with the 14 car of Grant Brown, and I am trying to see who that is in front of him. I am not sure who that other car on pit road was.
Well, Hudson Geiger, Aaron Johnson, Grant Brown, and Matthew Knott are all down pit road. Jake Grout just got the cause of caution. So all those competitors will get shuffled towards the tail end of the running order here. Let's take a quick side-by-side. By 9:18, we'll take a quick step aside. You're watching tonight's action here on V-Speed. Welcome back, everyone, to V-Speed as we continue our coverage of Misfit Touring Series action. It's still Nelson and Owens on the front row. Dempster's made his way up to 4th for this restart despite damage. We're down to 10 cars remaining from that stack up. We're back underway. Good restart for Owens, though. He's trying the inside. Short distance around. He uses the apron for rotation. No. Peterson to 3rd.
He used the apron to get a little more rotation, but I think that actually messed up his momentum a little bit, because as soon as he did that, that is when you really saw Nelson jump out to his lead, and he has over a 0.3 of a second lead just in that one lap. He is in firm control of this race as the cars fall in line behind him, as we get to watch this battle for 3rd between Cody Dempster and Christian Peterson.
Peterson has the preferred groove for the corner exits here. 71 machine for Trick Chassis clears as we continue on with some of the other side-by-sides. Grout trying to make up some of the ground lost for the EOL penalty. He will slide up in front of Wyatt Dent. So the 49 is continuing to make some passes despite the incident. He's still a +8 from his starting spot after not qualifying. Grout has a rocket underneath him. Take a look on board from Wyatt Dent. You can see how he's working with the sim rig. Smooth movements on the hands, trying to keep things focused as he makes his way around the corners.
Yeah, here's something you don't see a lot. He's got one ear sticking out of his headphones. I wonder exactly if he's just trying to listen to something in his room or what. If he has our broadcast on his phone, maybe listening to what we're saying, trying to get a little bit of a advantage on the cars around him, maybe.
You know, the funny thing is, though, there is a risk to that where you end up focusing on the broadcast so much or whatever you're watching, and I've done this under pacing. You end up losing track of the pacing line, for example, and then you look up and say, oh, it's restart time. I need to catch up 10 car lengths. I think I accidentally ran into somebody once by that accident. So it's a balancing act on can you pay attention to two things at once.
Yeah, and it looks like he might have a little bit of, does he have damage or maybe just tire wear back there? Because he's kind of the only car that has, well, there's a few more cars that have fallen off the pack, but I think all of them have damage. So I'm curious what the reasoning for that is. As we take a look, Travis Owens he might just be chilling, because this race has been pretty chaotic so far.
So chill, keep the tires cool. You never know how long you'll need the set at this point. Race Control did ask drivers to calm down, like you would talk about in real life, Gavin. These drivers in real life, in some of these cases, they have to carry this equipment week to week. They cannot afford to press the reset button and get a new $50,000 late model stock. They don't want to junk race cars in this series. Race Control emphasized giving space and having patience tonight, as that wasn't a bit patient, that was a bit of a sin. Jake Rout on the stack up, hits him. Atkinson clears on by with a close call.
Yeah, Travis Owens has just looked really loose all race long. We saw this happen to him last week where he was really fast at the jump and just fell off after the run got going, and is seeming to have the same issue here tonight, as he's just letting these cars get around him, or I don't say let them get around him, but they just keep working their way around him, and he's fallen back to the 5th position, and he is at risk of falling outside the top 5.
This is the fadeaway that we're talking about for Travis Owens that happened last race. It's taking longer this time, but it is still coming on the long run. Peterson, though, he's applying some pressure. He was nearly a 10th quicker than the leader last time by. He's only had a 1/10 of fall off this entire race so far. Remember, Peterson cooled down his tires, didn't push too hard for the first 30-40 laps, including the pace laps. And now, he seems pretty hungry to make something work here. Will he take a dive to the inside? Yes, he will, but not enough to get to the fender yet.
Yeah, he's looking below him, and Nelson's giving him that bottom line. I think Nelson knows that there's so much better drive off of the top that if he makes Christian Peterson run the bottom, he can keep him pinned down there. This track is, I think, a little bit similar to Five Flags that we saw last week. Not a lot. It's a lot bigger. The surface is a lot newer. You can carry more speed through the corners. But the racing lines are similar, where the middle is kind of the preferred line. Speaking of not being on the preferred line, Travis Owens losing 2 more spots, setting up on the high side right now. He just can't keep that car under him. He doesn't have really the center and exit speed of the cars around him, and he just seems to plow really bad in the corners right now. As you watch him, okay, he's able to get down to the bottom now, file into line.
Definitely cost him. Look at Dempster, though. He's still been doing well despite the aero damage as he picks up a little bit more damage, scraping the wall a little bit. Chips off some of the paint. Despite the contact to the front end, Dempster's been managing. And he's actually matching, if not a little bit quicker than the 171 in session right now. So he does have the speed here despite the damage. You have to wonder what would happen if he had a clean car. But he's doing a good job adapting to it, and adaptability is such a key as they battle hard for the lead still.
Yeah, Dempster really is at an advantage right now, as even though he does have a little bit of damage. These two leaders are racing each other really hard, and he's able to just run the line that he needs to run and wait on them to make a mistake. As they're fighting their way through some lap traffic, as the lap traffic gets kind of on the high side, it messes up Dempster's corner exit a little bit. And now the top 3 are settling back in single file.
Lap car's being told, hold a line in this situation. Keep it clean. At this point, lap traffic can play a factor. We've seen a little bit of it last time out, where some of the drivers at Five Flags prefer to run the bottom of the track. Shouldn't be as much problem tonight with the way they are going high, line, wide, and handsome most of the track. Let's see. Just trying to build these runs here still. Peterson really going up to that third groove, then trying to arc it down to the second line. It's not been working enough to chip away yet, though. That's the tough part. He's binding clean air, but it's not enough to actually build the run.
Yeah, it seems like he can get enough of a run to get to Bryce Nelson, but he just can't get enough of a run to get side by side and around him.
So what does he do is the question here.
I think he just keeps doing that because eventually that run is going to get bigger. He's going to be able to time it right at some point. And if he can get alongside Bryce, he can race him really hard while keeping it clean and eventually work his way around, as we're just now around halfway through the race.
Yep, already past the halfway point of this one. See some of the battles at the back of the field. Thomas Dean, he's been able to drive his winning race car back to 8th at least, but is struggling 0.2 of a second off the pace. White Dent 3 to 4 tenths. We are starting to see this field really splinter here as we go on. Right now, that group being the top 3 have pulled away nearly 2 seconds. Grout is matching the lap times of the top 3, but doesn't have the track position.
Yeah, Grout's a set of corners away from the leaders right now, but he's holding a good spot here inside the top 5. He's going to get around Atkinson here pretty soon, I think, as he is able to really roll the corner. He gets loose there. As I say, he does a good job getting through the corner. He gets loose and loses a little bit of momentum. But if we watch this battle, it is a very solid battle here for 4th position between Brandon Atkinson and Jake Grout.
See how Grout's able to get the diamond line working. That Peterson's been attempting for the race lead. So you're going to try it here. Grout wraps the bottom. Fully clear, not enough yet, but he is in position to maybe go for a slider in one. That's not what I meant. A little bit of a drift as Atkinson keeps it equal from that.
Yeah, Grout is doing a great job fighting right here. Gets side by side with him. Almost washes up into him. He gives him enough room. This is a great battle because it shows you how these two different lines at this racetrack work. The bottom line is the shorter way around. You can get side by side, maybe a little bit ahead of the car in front of you. But with the extra momentum you get on the top, you can really protect your position.
Yeah, that's the difficulty when it comes to making passes here, and why in real life it was such a challenge back in the 1980s and 90s in particular. You have to work for it, take your time. It's like a Martinsville when it comes to passes. Grout trying to clear himself again. Couldn't get the job done. Can he slide it up this time? He's swinging the rear again. He's loose again. He flings it around again as Atkinson again holds on.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Grout needs to just take a second to regroup, because he slid that right rear now 3 or 4 times, and it has to be screaming for help or a caution, either one. His car is going to continue to build looser the harder he drives it there on the bottom and lets it step out from under him.
It's only so long you can keep swinging around like that before the car says no, as a bit of a wall scrape. Now for the 15. I think the damage is right front fender a little bit, actually. It did crumple it up. As here's Shepard. He's just gone nowhere this run. As a matter of fact, Grant Brown, who's gotten all the repairs done, 11 minutes worth, in fact, might disrupt the battle a little bit here. He's trying to get as best a finish as possible, at least see where the speed's at.
Yeah, this is actually going to be really interesting to see, because you're going to be able to see the difference between new tires and old tires. Now, that Grant Brown has got all of his repairs, and he just seems to be driving his car with a lot more ease than these guys around him. Now, take note, these passes are not for position. He is over 30 laps down.
Oh, and Brown giving a little bit of a touch there to the 49. You can see where that may have came from after the previous contact. But nothing else you can do except let it fare out. Speaking of letting things fare out, and your contact for the lead. Nelson nudged off the bottom. 49 laps to go. Nelson still trying to hold on from the high side. All while Peterson continues to make it sing from down low.
Yeah, we watched that battle for fourth for so long. Now we're going to get to see a very similar fight, this time for the race lead, as they are approaching lap traffic right now. Here with just under 50 laps to go. Lap traffic's going to let them both by, and now this battle is really heating up.
What do you do if you're Peterson to make this pass?
I mean, he obviously doesn't know that the line that he is attempting did not work for Grout. You know, maybe if he has a spotter, his spotter's telling him, hey, that bottom line hasn't worked for a pass yet, but you got to try something. You can't just stay in line forever. As the clock in this race is ticking now, we are getting closer and closer to the end of it. And if there is a late caution, expect everybody to come down for tires.
Do you take 2 is a huge question. It really depends on how many laps we get, maybe.
I don't know. There's only 9 cars on the lead lap. I think you have to take 4.
There is that possibility. We'll have to keep an eye on it, absolutely. But it's still 45 to go. As into the wall goes Dent. Lap traffic nearly wrecks itself out of the way. As meanwhile, what's going on behind? Well, Grout has actually lost ground. Shepard has finally made some progress tonight. He's been stuck in 6th since the invert. Now he's up to the top 4, making some moves. He's able to make up some ground here. As around going the 0-2.
So far, we're green right now, as he's going to get the car refired and get back on the straightaway. Oh, now we hear race control throwing the caution, as we're going to take a look at the replay to get to see what happened to Travis Owens here.
Yeah, was running on his own. Just carried too much speed and lost it.
I looped it around, but he ended up dead saving it. He's only 1 lap down now, so he's not completely out of it if some things fall his way. But we did just talk about what's going to happen when they have a caution. Well, our questions are about to be answered, as they're about to come down pit road with only 8 cars on the lead lap.
And everybody trying to cut through some pit boxes. Not sure about that with race control, but Nelson does make his way in. Everybody else coming in for tires. We'll see how long these stops end up being. Remember, it's not like a NASCAR stop. In terms of some of the tire changes, you have to go way up at the Jackson. Yes, we do have a 2-tire call. Peterson takes it and takes the lead. Jake Grout also took 2, it appears here. Only a couple taking 4, in fact, out of the whole sequence.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out, because if you look at Peterson is in the lead, but these guys that took 4 tires, they're not losing that much track position. I still think 4 tires is the right call here. I think you're going to be at such an advantage with 4 tires that you're going to be able to make up these spots super fast.
Yeah, the question's going to be, though, tire temp is so critical. Already noticed that there's huge amounts of heat being built up by Nelson in a couple of the hours after they came out of pit boxes. How much do you try and warm up these tires here without trying to burn up a couple percent on your tires?
I mean, I think with 40 laps left, I mean, you could think it's going to take, what, 5 to 8 laps for the tires to get up to the temperature that you want them to have maximum grip. I think with, once you say the tires are all hot and even, you're still going to have 30 laps to go in this race. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for these guys that took 4 tires.
So we'll find this out here. Race control just to confirm that the caution had been thrown, as you would expect. The leaders there. Oh, that was close to the restart zone. Did he jump in beforehand? Peterson slows up before the line. Shepard went and led at the line. The 71, I think, went before the restart zone or just at the line, and that confused himself.
Yeah, and I say 4 tires had the advantage, but as you look, Nelson just got passed by 2 cars. He's outside of the top 5 now, sitting in the 6th position.
Just didn't get a good launch at all from that restart with 37 to go this time by the stripe. Right now, Dempster trying to use the high side of his advantage. First took an 18-second pit stop down pit road. Nelson took 22 seconds for reference on his stop, potentially with the fuel balance as well coming into play. As Nelson, no place to go yet, will get alongside Dempster.
Yeah, I think this is really hurting Nelson right now, as there's a little bit of contact there. As Dempster's going to slide up out of the way. So is Atkinson. You got to think these guys all got to be a little bit frustrated right now, but it's 35 laps to go. You have to make a move. Some more contact going into turn 1. These two right here are not very happy with each other.
Language warning, Brandon Atkinson. That's all we'll say to that. Got a little bit aggressive there with Dempster. As now they try and square things out. Will the 15 try and get back to that bumper, though? We know that there is the 2-tire call on Atkinson's balance when it comes to the tire sets. All this is while Grout is still holding on to second. Peterson still the lead by 0.4 of a second, by the way, up in the front of the field. As, oh boy, Atkinson nearly got there. He's trying to diamond it to get back alongside. Just cannot get the tiny boost he needs to get to the fender. Now it does.
Yeah, I really liked that ride along there with Atkinson, because with these two guys not being happy, the suspense is building as Dempster retaliates just a little bit down the front stretch, kind of chopping back into him. He does not want to give up this position.
Dempster not really aggressive on the squeeze here. Atkinson not able to clear by. Again, this is for top 5, and he pushes him up. Atkinson trying to hold on to the groove. Dempster avoids contact with it. But the 15 able to take the spot back. And there's the contact back as Dempster turns him around.
There it is. Dempster turned him around. That was not a smart move from Dempster. Not a decision that I love.
I think he thought right here there was contact. There was error definitely between the two of them. If you look on the replay there, there's about a 3-foot distance. And then Dempster just puts his foot into it.
Yeah, race control's not going to be happy with that. You know, emotions, especially at short track racing, can get high. So I can understand the frustration from both parties here. But you were the last 2 cars on the lead lap in this position, racing each other cleanly. Neither of you can possibly lose more than 1 spot. Now you're going to be in a position where you're going to allow the cars, 1 car behind you, get the lucky dog. You're both damaged now, so now you can both lose an entire another spot. I do not like the way these two were racing each other, especially through the lens of guys competing for a full season championship.
Cody Dempster has been disqualified for the remainder of the evening. He is parked from that incident. So no more Dempster. Taking our side by side. Closing stages here for North Wilkesboro. You're watching V-Speed. Welcome back, everyone, to V-Speed. Justin Prince alongside Gavin Grubbs, Morgan Cook producing for tonight's coverage. Coming up to 26 to go. Peterson, Grout on the front row. Dempster done for the night at minimum. Back it away. Good start by Grout. He's able to keep it to the fender. Peterson slides in front and slams the door.
Yeah, Peterson now, this is the position I talked about earlier. He is on 2 tires. The guys in 2nd place and 3rd place, they have the tire advantage right now, and they are going to be able to be just a little bit more aggressive here. With Grout is also on 2, we are hearing. So Nelson is the only car in the top 3 on 4 tires. He was fast all night long. He has by far led the most laps tonight. I really am interested to see what method he uses to try to get back to the front. As you can see, these 2 cars in front of him are being able to hold their own and maybe even stretch out their lead just a little bit over him.
And Nelson needs to dig if he wants to close this gap right now. Personal best laps being set by the race leader in Peterson. 18.6s. He's letting it rip with the right side tires. Nelson, yet to get enough tire heat built up, is down in the 9s compared to the race leaders. He'll have to be on massive send mode and hope for a massive cliffing point to have a chance to close. By the way, see some of the battles with Grant Brown still on the racetrack. Brown could potentially pick up a spot at Dempster to get to a top 10 at least for his run. Outside of that, Thomas Dean is the last driver of the lead lap. Everybody else is within 2 seconds of the leader, who is on the lead lap at least.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, I'm looking at Nelson right now, and it looks like his left front actually has a little bit of damage. That might be what's slowing him down as compared to what he was being able to do early on at the start of the night.
Yeah, could absolutely be it. Can confirm Nelson did it to himself, though, because he ended up hitting the wall on the lap before the previous restart, where he ended up drifting down on the where the restart zone is and hit the left front fender, then lined up the double up. And then we had the chaos that reigned on the previous restart sequence. So Nelson basically drove himself into the wall. Not sure what happened there, and that's costing him definitely with 18 laps to go.
Yeah, with 18 to go here, nearing the end of the night, Christian Peterson is in a great spot here. Jake Grout just can't quite get there. I don't think he has the speed that Peterson's had all night. His lead is just growing a little bit by little bit, inch by inch, further away from the cars behind him. He is in a great spot with 16 laps to go.
Brilliant spawn, absolutely, for a multi-time Cars Esport Tour champion from way back in the day. Of course, your defending series champion from Season 2 of the campaign. Here comes Shepard. He's looking for a top 3. Nelson not making it easy, though, is blocking that bottom of the racetrack just barely. With 15 to go, you can see that car is having a hard time sticking to its line. It keeps drifting up.
Yeah, that left front damage is definitely the problem here, because he was able to stick to the line he wanted to all night long before the damage, and now his car just isn't doing what he wants it to do, as Chris Shepard is there at his door looking to clear him shortly as a car is coming off of pit road.
Somebody peeling off. That's Wyatt Dent, who specifically is peeling off. It's not a line for any positions. We'll keep on trying to finish it out. But Grout's tires just aren't matching up to what Peterson's are for his fall-off band. Remember, on 4 tires, he was equalizing with the 171 for a little bit. Peterson just that much quicker with what he's got underneath the hood here tonight. 12 laps to work with. He is trying to cruise up in front as he laps the 8.
Yeah, he has built his lead up to almost an entire second now. He is in a great spot. I am really impressed by the drive Christian Peterson has had tonight, especially since the last restart, where he's just taking control of this race and driven away from the cars around him.
Just in full command so far from Christian Peterson. Continues to pull off and away with 10 laps to go here in Misfit Racing. Here from North Wilkesboro. Look at this in the battle going on for third still. Shepard dealing with a little bit of scrapes. I believe he's fixed up majority of those scrapes on the right front that he had. He's digging hard. He is evening out with Nelson, but not getting much faster than that. In fact, there were 1,000th of a second difference on lap time last time by. That's how identical these two are on pace.
Yeah, when you're running the same exact lap time as the guy in front of you, you're not going to be able to pass him. I say that as a little bit of a joke, you know, obviously, but you have to be able to find just a little bit of speed anywhere. You have an entire track to work with. You know, you're in a similar tire situation as the car in front of you. You did pit at the same time. You have to fight with everything you have. Get creative here. Find a line that you can get some clean air and just drive as hard as you can to get around the car in front of you.
Right now, that lead has grown to 1.3 seconds for Peterson. What a way to start off his first start of the season when it comes to this season's campaign. A dominating effort in the later stages, 40+ laps led. Time this will be done. Only 5 laps remaining. Podium still on the line. Nelson still floating around. Still yet to find a way here. Shepard has to get a cut alongside. Nelson way up the track this time. Still not able to get a run to build up to the inside uphill.
As we're taking this ride along with him, you watch that kind of diamond line. He's able to get a big run out of the corners there. Let's watch to see if he tries that again here. He's going to try to diamond it off a little bit again this time. He's able to get side by side with Nelson. Nelson picks up on it and kind of takes away that diamond line at the bottom. He drives to the bottom and prevents him from getting that extra drive off. As they get a little bit of wall contact here with 3 to go, this is a great battle on track right now. The best battle that we're able to watch.
Closest battle on the racetrack left, coming up to a couple laps to go here for Christian Peterson. Shepard's going on full send mode. Great run coming out of 4. Here comes Shepard to the inside. Lap and 3/4 to go as the 19 tries to get on the podium. Side by side, up to 3, coming up to the white flag.
Yeah, let's watch right here. Coming to the white. He's able to get a little bit of a run there. Almost dead even at the line. Nelson was able to hold it by just a tiny bit. I was going to take a ride with Christian Peterson. He's grabbing his first win in his first start of the season here with the Misfit Tour.
Christian Peterson gets the victory, his first of season 3. He does it by almost 2 seconds over Jake Grout. Bryce Nelson and Christopher Shepard, your top 4. Atkinson survives for top 5. Dean, the last on the lead lap. Everybody else finishes at least a lap down. But it's Peterson who gets to celebrate down the front straightaway. A 46 lap led night for the 171 in session. See him taking this time to be able to celebrate here, as eventually he'll do a celebratory celebration. I think they're waiting for pictures.
That makes sense. They're going to get some victory lane or front stretch pictures as we're going to go through the results.
Take a look at the unofficial race results. Peterson and Grout first and second, 1.8 seconds the margin in the end. Then was Bryce Nelson in third, with Shepard in the 4th position. Brandon Atkinson finished in the top 5. Dean was the last driver on the lead lap. Drivers laps down included Owens, Deach, Dent, and Brown, who were all running at the finish.
Hudson Geiger finished 11th, with Aaron Johnson 12th, Matthew Knott 13th, and Marcus Smith rounding out the field, with Cody Dempster getting moved to the back of the field after a disqualification.
Let's look top to bottom at the race results here tonight, here on V-Speed, as we do have a couple of the drivers standing on by. First and second have already gotten ready. Let's talk with your first place runner tonight. This is Christian Peterson. Christian, welcome back to the series for season 3. Welcome back to Victory Lane. Talk us through the efforts here, especially the 2-tire call that basically got you the lead.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. I think the 2 tires definitely helped. I mean, kind of just freed it up a little bit, put a little bit of gas in it with the tires, and kind of just went from there. I knew it was decent. I couldn't quite get by the 031 there at the beginning, or before that yellow when we all pit. I was trying hard and we were having a good race, so and that was a lot of fun. So shout out to him. And but yeah, just 2 tires, car was good, kind of just raced the track, and here we are.
Here we are indeed here tonight. And let me ask you this. How difficult, as I'm not sure who you were talking to for a split second.
Sorry.
I was about to say, how difficult was the setup in the first place to be able to make some of the passes here tonight? Because North Wilkesboro, some of the people described coming in, was a bit more slicker than, believe it or not, the 1987 version. How would you describe that difficulty to get the runs that we've seen for plenty of competitors, with the middle being the preferred line in 1 and 2, and that bottom in 3 and 4?
Yeah. I was kind of just trying to work 1 and 2 and get a runoff 2 and get to the bottom into 3. I thought that was my best bet. Unless you get to the right recorder off of 1 or in 1 and 2, but that was really tough. So just trying to set those runs up for off 2 and race each other side by side into 3. Yeah, it was so hard to pass. Every time I got below, I can't remember his name, but the 31 there.
Bryce Nelson.
Yeah, Bryce. Every time I got to his inside in 3, I just got really loose, and he was able to carry the momentum. So, yeah, it's just tough to pass, and it was kind of what makes this track fun. You know what I mean? You can get the runs and get momentum and spots on people, but then it kind of evens out once you get side by side. So, yeah. And apologies for that language. I apologize. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much for saying that before I was going to say that. later on, but I was about to say, now you have a big event coming up when it comes to the series because 250 laps, Oxford Plains. It's a part of the Triple Crown Showdown. It's basically full distance, your approach with Oxford, where it's a lot of left-hand turns.
Yeah. Yeah, we were good at Oxford. We have a good we like to kind of just go left all the time. So we'll pull that setup out and see what it's got. Show up and try to put on a good show.
Any shots you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, just everybody that works on the setup, everybody at Trick Chassis, BA, John, Hudson, a bunch of other guys. Kyle for putting the race on, everybody at MRL for putting this race on, and you guys for doing the broadcast.
Congratulations on the win here tonight here, Christian.
Thank you.
Christian Peterson gets to celebrate again. We apologize for the language used, as he said that, I think, under his breath initially, without realizing he was still on a hot mic. You know who's ready to go on a hot mic? Jake Grout. He finishes second. He's with Gavin.
Jake, you started 15th in a chaotic race, worked your way all the way up to second. Walk us through fighting through this field tonight in a very competitive, very eventful race.
First and foremost, I gotta apologize to Matthew. Grant, he sent it 3, and I was focused on him, and I just got up into Matthew and sent him around. So I gotta apologize to him first and foremost. But Ryan Kuhn gave us a really good car as always, and I didn't realize we had tires for the first like 50 laps. So I was sitting there saving, and then someone brought it up, and turns out we had tires. So I just started driving it from there, and uh, we pit for tires, and I made a wrong adjustment and let CP just drive away. So hats off to him. Just got to be better on the pit stops, I guess.
Yeah, and you did pick up a spot or two there in the pits by taking 2 tires there at the end. What went into that decision? Was that kind of a premeditated thing where you knew all race long, or not all race long, once you knew that you had that set of tires, knew you were going to take 2, or did you contemplate taking 4?
Nah, whenever it comes to the late model, it's right sides only for me. I should have loosened it up more than I did whenever I took the 2 tires because it tightens this thing up pretty good. And I just didn't loosen it up enough, and I was pretty much plowing center from there on out. So I wasn't able to drive underneath CP and actually get a run side by side with him, and unfortunately it ended up that way.
Yeah, I got you. Do you have anybody that you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Of course, I got to thank AW Clark Builders, JNS Sales and Service, White's Heating, Grout Motorsports, RKM Setup Shop, KCB Addy Racing, Southpaw Imaging, Misfit Productions, RaceMRL.com, just everybody that helps put this league on. You guys, it's gonna be a good season. We had a bad night tonight.
I got you. Thank you, Jake, and congratulations on your podium finish here tonight.
Thank you.
Jake Grout coming away in second spot tonight. Bryce Nelson came away in third spot tonight. Bryce, talk to us about that pit situation. You ended up going on 4 tires in the very end. What came down to the decision? How was the car afterwards? I know you hit the wall actually under the pace laps before that restart.
Yeah, I was actually on my phone texting about the race, but yeah, I don't really know. I talked to the guys after the race, and I believe Grout took 2. I know the 71 took 2 as well. But yeah, I don't know if 4 was definitely the move. I didn't really know what 4 was going to do there and how it was going to trend, if it was going to trend tight or loose. And I figured 4 would be good, especially with it's a momentum racetrack on the top and 1 and 2, and you try to get clear to get on the bottom and 3 and 4. But I don't know. It's just a learning game for me. I haven't really ran it many league races, 125 laps before. So I was just learning experience. Not sure if I'll be able to be back next week, but I'll definitely look forward to running more.
Yeah, you definitely had some good speed though in the clean air. What was that in terms of getting the setup balance right? How important was to find that balance here to be able to have good speed once you got that clean air as you did early?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I definitely think clean air, helped the setup turn and get down the straightaways. You're not in dirty air all over the place. But yeah, it was definitely a good car. The first, 80 laps to that caution right there when we took our tires. Definitely had the car to beat right there. But at the same time, you got to put in your mind how many people are riding, saving tires, and who's trying to push a little bit. And I think whoever was behind me right there was trying to make me, use up my tires so they could get by me. But, I just tried my best to keep doing what I was doing and maintaining my good pace. And, I think it worked. It was a pretty good car the first 80 or so.
So with that being said, will you be running any of those longer Triple Crown Showdown races coming up?
Yeah, I would like to. I don't know about next week with Oxford, but I got some prior commitments. If something goes down then, I might, but I don't know. We'll see. I'd really like to. I enjoy running with these guys. They kind of welcomed me with open arms. Any questions I needed, I'd ask any of them. I appreciate that. It goes a long way, and I appreciate all my sponsors. Nelson Enterprises, Hodges Sim Shots, Colfax Towing, Levi Photography, and MRL, and you guys for putting on a great show.
Congratulations on the run here tonight in this one. Congrats to the podium.
Thank you.
Bryce Nelson giving his shout outs here as we continue to see how this is all set to go for the rest of the run. I'd like to thank the top three for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on V-Speed. Your final thoughts tonight, Gavin, as next time out we go full distance 250 lap racing.
Well, we've seen a few chaotic moments in these first 2 weeks so far, and heading to Oxford Plains, which is a much smaller, much tighter racetrack, and it being one of the Triple Crown events, we can expect to maybe see a little bit higher of a car count. This is going to be a must tune-in show next week at Oxford.
It's going to be an interesting one, a part of the Triple Crown races. Also, you have a mystery night mixed in. Richmond as a part of those longer races, the 250 laps also. But that will be all the way down in March, a part of the campaign. And a busy schedule coming up here on V-Speed for this series. But it's time to just about say goodbye for tonight's coverage here for the Misfit Touring Series, brought to you by RaceMRL.com. For our producer tonight, Morgan Cook, for our co-announcer in Gavin Grubbs, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching tonight's coverage of MTS from North Wilkesboro. Congratulations once again to Christian Peterson, your winner from North Wilkesboro.